Hello, everyone, and it's time for your Tuesday tip with Linda Fosdick, the Crisis Planner. And today's tip has to do with a common, everyday household object that most of us probably have in our homes. And in fact, we may have more than one. I know I have several of these in my home, and you see them everywhere in every public building, school, business. And yet, how many of us would know when to use it or how to use it? The object I'm speaking about is the fire extinguisher. Now, yes, so the first thing we're going to address is, when do we use a fire extinguisher? A fire extinguisher is really designed for small fires. So anything larger than a waste paper basket size is bigger than your fire extinguisher is going to be able to handle. A fire extinguisher is designed to dispense its entire contents in 15 seconds. So if you can't extinguish that fire in 15 seconds, it's bigger than you can handle with your little fire extinguisher. It doesn't matter what size fire extinguisher we're talking about. So the first thing you have to do is determine whether it's something that you're going to be able to do. In any fire situation, there's a 4-letter word that we all need to remember, and that word is RACE. The R stands for removing the people. Get people to safety. Your number one priority is the safety of the people that are in the building or in the home. You want to remove them first. The A stands for sound the alarm. The alarm is going to be pulling the fire alarm if you're in a public place, calling 911 to get the fire department to come, or yelling fire so that other people know that there is a fire to contend with. The C stands for contain. You need to contain the fire, and fires need 3 things in order to exist. They need oxygen, they need fuel, and they need heat. If you can cut down the oxygen supply to the fire, you can slow it down. The way you do that is by closing a door, not feeding the oxygen to the fire. So you want to contain the fire as best as possible. Even our little hollow core doors in our homes will stop or slow a fire down for 15 to 20 minutes, which is enough to get people to safety. So you want to contain it. The last thing you want to do is E, extinguish the fire, and only do so if it is safe to do so. Again, if the fire is larger than a waste paper can, you're probably not going to be able to extinguish it with your fire extinguisher. So now, how do we use a fire extinguisher, and what do I need to know about this little handy device? Well, every fire extinguisher has a little gauge on it that tells you whether it is properly charged. The arrow should be squarely in the middle of the green part of the gauge. If it is to the left or the right, it means that either your extinguisher is overcharged, which could cause a problem, or not enough charge, which would prevent the contents from dispensing. Also, you want to make sure that you have a proper fire extinguisher for the type of fire. Now, many of the fire extinguishers sold at Home Depot and other home stores are rated for 3 different types of fires. You have A for combustibles like wood and paper. You have B rated, which is your flammable liquids like gasoline, kerosene, and things like that. And C, which is electrical, which means that this one is A, B, and C rated, which means this is good. This is a dry fire extinguisher. It's not water-based. If it's just A, it's probably a water-based fire extinguisher. Otherwise, you want to make sure that it's going to be the appropriate extinguisher for the type of fire. So now, how do you use a fire extinguisher? I mean, if you haven't used one before. Well, another 4-letter word, is very simple. You want to pass. Now, fire extinguishers have this little ring on it, and that ring is secured by a very easily broken plastic wire tie. So the letter is P for pass, which means pull. Now, if this plastic thing is missing, it means that the fire extinguisher either has been used or it probably doesn't have a full charge. So make sure that your fire extinguisher does have this little safety thing on it so that you know that it's good to go. So P, pull. The next, you're going to take the nozzle and you're going to aim that nozzle at the base of the fire. You're going to stand 6 to 8 feet away from the fire, aim the nozzle at the base of the fire, and then your first S is to squeeze the two handles together, and the second S is to sweep along the base of the fire, moving the nozzle back and forth. So pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Now, if you have a fire extinguisher that is more than 7 years old, you want to make sure that you dispose of it properly. And the only way to dispose of a fire extinguisher properly is to make sure that it has been emptied. So if you have an old fire extinguisher, this might be something fun that you can do with the family so that everybody in the family knows how to use a fire extinguisher properly. You're going to go outside. This is not something that you want to do indoors, especially with a dry fire extinguisher, that the powder will get everywhere. So go outside and practice. Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep so that everybody in your family knows how to use your fire extinguisher. You can dispose of it properly, empty, and it won't be a hazard to someone on the garbage truck or in the landfill, because pressurized containers can be dangerous. These are designed for single use. Once you've used it, it's done. You can't use it a second time unless it is it's certified to be refilled, in which case you have to evaluate. Is it cheaper to buy a new one or is it cheaper to refill it? So make sure you check out your fire extinguishers. Make sure that they're not old, and practice with the old ones with your family. Have a little fun outside and make sure everybody knows when to use a fire extinguisher, with the what to do in case of a fire, race, remove the people, call in the alarm, contain the fire, and extinguish only if it's safe to do so. Be safe out there, my friends. Until next week, this is the Crisis Planner. Talk to you all soon. Bye.